Good evening. Hi, I'm Adam Helman, and welcome to the one-year anniversary episode of Guest House TV, supporting Guest House, a sweet home for patients and their families in Chicago. The Guest House is a nonprofit in Chicago that provides temporary lodging, which enables families and patients to get life-saving treatment by being able to stay near the hospital in Chicago. And we're so happy to see you again and happy to be at the beginning of our second year. Tonight, I have a couple of great guests with me. Will you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Jan Kroeschell. I am the manager of volunteers and programming at the Guest House.
And my name is Paul Szalko. I am a volunteer at the Guest House. I've been volunteering for a little more than a year.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Sure.
Absolutely. So, what we're going to talk about tonight, not surprisingly with Jen and Paul here, is the volunteer program. You know, we talk a lot about our guests and our partners and the different things that we do at the Guest House, but volunteerism is a very, very important part of the service we provide. Jen, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So, at the Guest House, we have opportunities for people to come and do dinners on Thursday nights. We are just starting up Tuesday nights. We're looking for sponsors to host meals and or bring, people can bake. They can bring cookies. They can bring treats. Our guests are traveling from out of town, out of state, and oftentimes coming to Chicago is a little overwhelming, in addition to whatever reason they might be here, whatever medical reason that they're staying at the Guest House. And so our volunteers come and just try to provide an opportunity for community, a sense of home for them while they're away from home. And so welcome bags put on their doors, cookies being baked, things like that can just bring that sense of comfort to them is something that is a goal for us with our volunteers and why they come and help.
And Jen, about how many people do we have volunteer in a year at the Guest House?
Usually it's been after our special events and different things that we've had going on, we get up to 400 volunteers that have served the Guest House in our mission.
That's great. And is it open to individuals, corporations, church groups?
Yes, all of those. We have individuals that come on a regular basis, like Paul. He helps out at our Thursday night dinners. We also have corporate groups. We have a group coming next Monday that's going to bake cookies and make welcome bags for us. So different groups can come and do different things. We also want them to have the opportunity to do it off-site. So sometimes a group might be so big that they want to do a day of service at their corporate site, and then some people will bring it by and drop it off, and we like when they can drop it off and see the Guest House. So they drop it off at guest doors, and then they also come into our community room so we can show them a little more about us. So
Great. So Paul, how did you get involved in volunteering how did you get involved in volunteering in general?
Well, this is something that I've always done since I was in grammar school. My mother used to have us involved in volunteer activities at our church. It's something I've pursued through high school and college, and then even in my work life. Being retired now has afforded me much more time to give back, and I'm a big believer in giving back. So my wife is on the board of the Guest House, and so when I was looking for some opportunities, she suggested and introduced me to Dion and to Jan, and it's just been a great fit for me, and I just enjoy doing it, and I know that as long as I'm welcome and people enjoy me being there, I'll continue to do it.
Well, although you are always welcome and people enjoy seeing you very much, I know that. Mm-hmm. Are you a native Chicagoan?
I am. I grew up on the southwest side of Chicago. So again, it's just been a real driver for me to have the opportunity to give back. And, my wife and I, what Jan talked about, we are sponsoring a dinner in a couple of weeks, so we're very excited about that. Also involved in other charities as well. But
what's some of the other volunteer work that you do?
Involved with Misericordia, so that's something that I've been actively involved in as a child. My grandmother lived right down the street from the very first Misericordia, known as Misericordia South. So it's been fun to see that evolve to the facility that it is today. But I think the great thing, going back to the guest house, is that no matter what kind of day you are having personally, you go there and you get to interact with the people that are there. And you walk out of there knowing that you've maybe helped someone that day, but also you walk out of there realizing that you don't really have any problems. These are people that are really dealing with some life-altering events and challenges, and they come from all over the United States, as Jan mentioned, and really all over the country, or all over the globe.
Right.
So it's been really rewarding for me personally. I really enjoy doing the work, and I think one of the benefits to me personally has been trying to act as kind of a liaison for Chicago. Like I know some of these people are not from Chicago, so I talk to them if they're well enough about how going to sporting events or other events that might be going on around Chicago, or restaurants, just to get out, because I know what a drain this is on them personally. So there's just such a good community among the people that are living and residing at the guest house that just trying to get them out to do something that maybe affords them a little bit of, for lack of a better word, feeling normal. If I can do that, that's fantastic.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting to me that with volunteering that way, that sometimes it feels like what you're doing as a volunteer, what I do as a volunteer when I do it, doesn't feel like necessarily it's that much of an effort personally, right? Like you go and you help serve a dinner, help put a dinner together for people, and it takes a couple hours. But it's that small, simple effort that you make that means just so much to somebody who's on the receiving end of that. And it's that sort of effort versus that just outsized impact that it can have.
Well, I think that, there's a gentleman that I just met recently that's from Indiana. They spend all day at the hospital with their son, and it's a very critical situation. But then they have an opportunity, and then yet with all that pressure and all that stress, they couldn't be more grateful to get a bag that has a meal in it that they take back to their room, or they can join us in the community room and enjoy the meal. So just that, I mean, it's just unbelievable to me, the capacity that some of these people have to be dealing with these life-threatening events, but yet still have the ability to be friendly and cordial and appreciative. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, we've met some really amazing people, and I was going to mention that you've been very helpful in helping them navigate what Chicago has to offer if they are well enough to take advantage of it. Otherwise, it's also just giving our volunteers give a friendly face to Chicago as well, that people are traveling from all over and they don't know what to expect when they come here, and they're pleasantly surprised to come to the guest house and have a warm welcome, and our volunteers are a key to that.
Right. I tell you what, the words are great. A picture sometimes is worth a lot of words. So we're not going to stop talking, but it would be great to show a few slides that give an idea of the community room and the activity that goes on there. Jen, do you want to tell us a little bit about the community room?
Sure. It's called the Jane Reich Community Room, and Jane Reich is our founder of our guest house, and so we named the community room after her, and it's a gathering place where people can come, and if they need a break and they just need a larger space to maybe play games, or we have volunteers that come in to do projects there, or to do maybe they'll host bingo with our guests after a dinner. And so we have small groups, large groups, individuals that just want to come and serve. And so that picture is we had Girl Scouts that came in and made a dinner, and we've got groups that write notes to our guests, which just personal notes and cards goes a long way to really encourage our guests who are going through a tough time. It means a lot to them. So people can do some of that stuff at home and then drop things off. So.
Yeah, you know what I love about this is that there's a little bit of everybody who comes in to volunteer, and it really is something that's open to people, whether they come as an individual or whether they come as part of a group. If they want to get involved in volunteering, how do they do that?
So they can go on our website. They can also go to send me an email, which is jank@guesthousechicago.org. That's probably the best way to find
Right.
me.
Yes. So and can you say that again? jank@guesthousechicago.org.
Yep.
I guess I said it again.
There you go. Good job.
So, and our website is also www.guesthousechicago.org, and you can find out about the organization there and find out about volunteer opportunities there as well. Paul, I want to get back to you. So, I know you said that this was something that was part of your childhood and growing up.
Yes.
Is there a volunteer experience, whether it was with the guest house or somewhere else, that really stuck with you and was really meaningful to you?
You know, I think I can stay on the topic of the guest house. I think that my first initial, when I started working there last winter, there was such a community of people. The people that were residents there, no matter what they were dealing with personally, they were so supportive of each other.
Yeah.
If there was one family that was going through a transplant and there was yet another family that was waiting, the waiting family was cheering on that family that was going through that process. To me, that was just so amazing. And, you know, you just hear these stories of, you know, people that are just at the doctor's office all day and they're just rushing back to get back for dinner. And I think the thing that is really amazing to me, again, I talked about this earlier about how disrupting this can be for a family. But what people sometimes don't really understand is that the people at the guest house, and I notice this when I go and I deliver the menus to the rooms and I see the residents in their room and their length of stay. People aren't just there for a week or 2 weeks like sometimes you think about the flu. Well, you know, I'm going to be in bed for a couple of days and I'm not going to feel that great. These are people that are with you, with us, for 6 months, a year, maybe sometimes even longer. So that part is just, again, when you talk about the disruption and yet how grateful these people are to be here,
Right.
and that there is a place like the guest house for them to stay. That truly, to me, has been the most gratifying experience.
Yeah, you said something earlier in this conversation about people feeling normal in a way. And, you know, I think it's kind of, when people get seriously ill and have this problem themselves or in their family, it's kind of like they disappear as people behind a diagnosis and behind a line of treatment. And all of a sudden they're the person whose family is dealing with this, or they're dealing with, they need a lung transplant or a heart transplant or something like that. And, you know, that weighs on them 24 hours a day, and they think about it all the time. And yet, having an opportunity to be somewhere and in an environment that kind of takes you out of that for a little while and remembers that you're Jan or Paul or Adam, and irrespective of what else is happening, you're still that person. And you still want to be able to enjoy some aspects of your life as an individual. You need that. I mean, we all need that. No matter what else is happening in our lives, we need that sort of refreshment or relief in a way from what we're doing. And, you know, so in the hospital all day, every day, and yet you leave the hospital, and at some point you have to be able to kind of have a group of people in a place where you can let go a little bit.
Right.
And I do like telling our volunteers when they come in that, you know, really when you're just greeting our volunteers are greeting our guests coming in for dinner or other reasons that they're stopping by, that they're just offering them a warm smile. They're not asking why they're there. They may not want to talk about medical stuff. They've had a full day of that. They might want to talk about their dog that's they had to leave at home, or their grandchildren, or their kids, and that just brings normalcy to their life and talking about things that are important to them that they miss, you know. And so we don't try to put that diagnosis out first, you know.
Right. Jen, can you talk about your background? How did you get to the Jen was at the guest house when I started working there, so she predates me in guest house career. So can you talk a little bit about how you came to the guest house, what it was like when you started there?
Sure. So I've been at the guest house for 11 years now, which is amazing. And when I first started, the guest house did not have a volunteer program. We actually didn't have a community room yet. We only had about 6 or 7 guest rooms on the first floor. And they were just starting to expand, so they knew they wanted to grow their staff and volunteer program. And so we started small, just doing breakfast bags in the lobby we're in a UIC dorm, so we were doing that, something small. We were trying to do some game nights just to encourage people to join us. But as construction grew the rooms and we were able to establish a community room and a base for our volunteer program, that made all the difference for meeting our guests and gathering them and being able to, you know, do more for them.
Yeah. And then what about the community room? We went through a transformation of that about a year and a half ago. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, it needed a refresh after about 10 years. So we were able to repaint it, change around some of the furniture to just create these living room spaces as well as a dining room area for people to eat. And just, I think the calming colors, we've gotten a lot of compliments on how peaceful it is and just that it's a nice refresh. We also had a former guest that had stayed with us. His name is Ray. And when he lived in Puerto Rico before his diagnosis, he was a master cabinet maker. And so he actually helped out by making some cabinets that help just refresh the room. And we have games and books in a certain area, a little library. So we want to have it available for guests to just have another space to, you know, to be. Sometimes if the rooms feel a little small, it just gives the family a place to expand a little bit, or if they have visitors, they can play a game, you know, and just talk. It's a nice space.
Yeah. Can you tell us about some of the different, either, and this I guess, open question, Paul and Jan, people that you've talked about a little bit, people that you specifically remember interacting with in your volunteer activity, or Jen, maybe people or groups that you really haven't. I know you love all our volunteers.
I do.
And everybody who comes in, but some of the ones that are kind of notable or particularly memorable.
You know, we have some regular volunteers that have really seen us through. COVID was a tough time for everyone. And at the guest house, some guests had to leave. Some guests who were transplant guests had to come in. We didn't know how to navigate COVID. But some of those just steady, loyal volunteer partners of ours kept asking, well, what can we do? How can we help? And so some made welcome baskets or bags at home and would drop them off. And so I just really appreciated the partnership of some of the long-term relationships we've had with our partners or individuals who have volunteered with us for years. And they wanted to help, so people were writing cards at home, and then they'd mail them to me. And then we'd get them underneath people's doors so that people were getting mail, you know? So that stuck out for me, is just that commitment level of people.
Paul, what about you?
You know, what I enjoy seeing last week I worked, and the involvement from young people. You know, sure, there are, you know, older people that are involved in this, but, you know, when you see the young people, the college age, high school age, that are just there because they heard about it and they just think it's a good thing to do, I mean, that is really, I mean, because it is going to be the next generation that's going to have to kind of run with the torch and help and participate in this. And just that they're aware that the guest house exists, and then they bring in friends, which is also a really good thing. And so that's been very impressive.
Yeah, I that really strikes me too. The idea that we're on a college campus, university campus, and so there are students around, and that they are interested. We have a big groups of students who are interested in doing that, in volunteering, and it's a really nice thing, because college kids have a lot of things they like to do. There's a lot on their minds. There's a lot of stuff. So the idea that they want to put their own effort into something like that, and volunteer that way, and then the high school students as well, to come in. Jen, do you want to talk a little bit? We've had some family groups come in. Do you want to talk about that a little?
Right. I was going to mention the different age levels. On Saturdays, the Honeycomb, not every Saturday, probably twice a month, we have the Honeycomb Project, which is a great way for people to volunteer as a family. And it was actually put together because the founders had a hard time finding volunteer opportunities for them with their young kids that didn't require, a lot of orientation or something like that. So the Honeycomb Project allows families to come in, and we make it easy for them. They come in and they bake cookies, and then they put them in bags that they've decorated and hang them on guest doors. Or they do a brunch, and they want to play board games with our guests. So they set those projects up to be with younger kids and families to interact with our guests. We also have had the opportunity to partner with Urban Autism Solutions, which is also in the medical district. And they work with students with autism in the CPS schools. And they would come twice a month as well and bake dessert for us. And that's what we use in our dinners on Thursday night. So just different age ranges have come. Delta Epsilon Mu on campus, as well as Phi Delta Chi fraternities, have really partnered with us over the years. And the students really enjoy coming back because it's fun, it's easy. They can host bingo. They've done trivia nights and other games that just everybody interacts, and the intergenerational piece of it is really fun to watch. So,
okay, that's great. So, one final thing to talk about tonight, and that is a volunteer opportunity. You mentioned it when you first started talking tonight, Jan, in your first comments about volunteering at events. So on September 12th, we have a great opportunity to support the guest house as a volunteer or to participate. And we have a flyer that would be great to put up. We have the Summer Swing Golf Outing on September 12th. So Jan, no offense, not a golfer. Me, not a golfer. We've been to a bunch of golf outings now. Paul is a golfer.
yeah.
Yes, I am.
So we would love for you to, and if we could put the flyer back up for a minute, it would be great. We would love for you to participate in any way if you can. The website is listed there at the bottom, but you can also find out about it on our website. And again, the Summer Swing Golf Outing, it's our 25th anniversary this year, September 12th. We'll have a great time no matter what you want to be involved in or how you want to be involved. There are volunteer opportunities there, as well as opportunities to support and get involved in other ways. And we really hope that you'll be there. So once again, to go to our website, www.guesthousechicago.org. And I want to thank Paul Szalko and Jan Kroeschell for being our guest tonight and being here on our one-year anniversary show and being ready to kick off the second year of Guest House TV here on CAN TV in Chicago. Any final comments?
None from me. Thank you so much, Adam. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you for
Thanks
being
for
here.
joining us. That was great.
Yeah, it was great, Paul. So, in the meantime, we encourage everybody to take care, be well, and remember, you're always a guest at the guest house. Thanks so much and have a good night. Bye-bye now.